Nebraska continues to make their mark in the transfer portal, this time going out and getting a second receiver in this transfer portal season and getting Kentucky's Dane Key. Key was a guy that a lot of Husker fans kind of had their eye on after we hired Akil Shorts as our new receivers coach, and both Kentucky receivers hit the portal. Nebraska seemed like a logical landing spot for them, and they were able to secure the services of Dane Key to be one of their new receivers. So Nebraska needed to replace Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair, and I think they got one right here in Dane Key. If you're not familiar with what I do in these videos, I like to take clips and of plays of different games to kind of illustrate and showcase what, in this case, Nebraska is getting with Dane Key. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into the tape. Now, as I said, Nebraska is trying to replace Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair, two big 6'3", 220-pound receivers, physical guys who really kind of dominated early in the season. And with them both gone, Malachi Coleman transferring, Nebraska didn't have that big-bodied guy. You had Carter Nelson, who's going to be moving back to tight end. And that's what Dane Key gives. At 6'3", 210 pounds, he's going to be that possession receiver that they need. So here he is at the bottom of the screen. He was going in motion. And these are the type of routes that Jamal Banks gave Nebraska, and even Isaiah Nair. A little dig route inside. You kind of see him coming from off the screen, but just moving the chains. He's not super explosive. He's not going to beat you with his speed, but he's able to push deep, break into the middle of the field, and help move the chains. That's something that Jamal Banks was really good at for Nebraska, giving Rayola that big body over the middle. Dane Key can give that as well. Now, as I showed you running that dig route here against Ole Miss, he's at the bottom of the screen. Another way that he can be used to help control this middle is these just shallow crossing routes. And Key isn't this explosive burner, but we see against a good, fast Ole Miss Land Shark defense, he's able to run this route, get a little separation, and then turn upfield to continue to get the first downs. And that's the big thing that I saw out of him in the 3 or 4 games that I watched, is he knows how to get first downs. He knows how to move the chains, whether it's dig routes, hook routes, or little crossers like this. He's able to, make nice, easy hands catches, and then he has enough speed and quickness to get up the field and keep the drives going. To go along with that, working over the middle, here we see Dane Key at the top of the field. Going to run another dig route, but what I like about this clip is it shows his ability to go make that catch, to high point it. The ball's up in the air. He's able to leap up in between 3 defenders, make that catch, hold on, once again move the chains. That's something that Jamal Banks was able to do, Isaiah Nair was able to do at times. Be that possession guy. Not only can you run the dig route, control the middle of the field, and make those catches, he can make those catches outside of his frame. Go up, high point that ball, not make it so Rayola doesn't have to always be pinpoint accurate. He can put the ball where he knows that Dane Key can go up and make that catch. To continue with his ability to make these tough catches, here against Auburn, he's going to be covered, ball's going to be thrown up, and he's got that ability to reach up and go and make that catch over the defender. And it's just this body control and the ability to win at the catch point that we see here. These are things that, like I said, I keep pounding in there. Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nair, they provided. They were able to go up and win 50-50 battles, especially early on in the season. Nebraska kind of went away from them. But they need someone to have that. And Dane Key's ability that he's shown against SEC defenses to be able to go up and win at the catch point, go up and win 50-50 balls, is something that Nebraska needed to replace, and they got it right here with Dane Key. Now, one thing that Nebraska kind of went away from as the season progressed, especially after that Purdue game, and I don't know if it was what the reason why, but was those downfield shots. And the ability to throw the ball up to their big receivers. And once again, Dane Key provides that. He's at the bottom of the screen down here, and he's going to run a deep route, and his quarterback is going to be able to throw it up. And just look at the body control to turn back, spin outside, high point that ball, and make that catch along the sideline. We saw it early on in the season. Nebraska wasn't able to take as many deep shots at the end of the season. I don't know why, but they probably want to get back to doing that. And Dane Key, once again, he's got enough speed. He's not a burner. He's not Ja'Cory Barney or Jalen Lloyd, but he's got enough speed to push and run deep, and he's got this body control to just be able to go up, adjust, and make these tough catches along the sideline. And Nebraska needs their vertical element to be going. I'm hoping with Holgorsen running the offense the entire season, Nebraska is going to get back to being able to attack down the field. And you've got your speed guys, and you also got a guy that can go up there and win those 50-50 battles. Now, another thing that I kind of wanted to look at to see was how he could be used. And I know red zone offense is something that Nebraska always needs. For the longest time, they're always afraid to throw the ball. I think with Rayola now, we're more apt to it. We have seen some success, and I think Dane Key can be part of that success. So here he is in a condensed formation. He's lined up right here at the bottom of the screen, and they're going to run a little play action, and he's just going to drag along the backside of the end zone for the touchdown. If he can show that he's a blocker, I think plays like this or roles like this with Nebraska will be increasingly effective for him, because if he can show that he could be a blocker, he can be used in the red zone here, running these drags off of play action to give Rayola and this offense another weapon in the red zone. Now, if we're going to talk about him being big and physical, we have to talk about him in the run game. And that was one of the issues that Nebraska had with their bigger receivers, is they weren't always the best at blocking on the perimeter. Here we get a glimpse of this with Dane Key at the top of the screen. And Kentucky's going to run to his side. And I'm not going to say he's this big lockdown run blocker, but at least he shows the willingness and the tenacity to get in there, put his hands on the cornerback, and try to lock him up so his running backs can make moves. And I think a continued effort with it, but we see the pieces are there. The talent is there to be able to do it. Can he continue to do that, especially within the Big Ten? There is so much to like about Dane Key, and I'm excited to have him as part of this Nebraska offense. Nebraska, I probably said this to nauseum, they had to get a big-bodied receiver. Hunter, the Cal receiver, I think he's going to give them a little bit more juice, but they didn't have that possession guy. You got him, you got Barney, you have some of the freshmen that they brought in. They need that physical, experienced guy that they lost with Jamal Banks, especially in Isaiah Nair early on in the season, and Key's going to give that to him. And I think he's more of a Banks than he is as a Nair. Banks is more physical, contested catcher, possession guy. Nair was supposed to be that kind of weapon, the down the field guy, and he was early on. Then he kind of disappeared at times, whereas Banks was the more consistent. I don't think he's as fast as Nair is, but he's faster than Banks. And he's a little bit more explosive, quicker than Banks was, but he's got a lot of those abilities to go up and be that possession receiver that Nebraska needs, that Dylan Rayola needs. So I think he's a good piece for this offense. He's familiar with his receivers coach, familiar with a guy who's familiar with the offensive coordinator. So I think it's going to be a strong addition. I like how Nebraska's retooled this receiver room. You've got different pieces. It's not kind of the same type of guys. And I really think that's going to help unlock this offense and make them more explosive, and that's what Nebraska truly needs. All right, if you like what you saw, make sure that you subscribe. I've kind of broken down pretty much every one of Nebraska's transfers so far. So if you subscribe to the channel, you go to it, you'll be able to see those other videos. Make sure you follow me on social media, draft_Brian. Wherever you do social media, you'll find me there. And like I said, just be on the lookout. If you're an NFL draft fan, definitely have more NFL draft videos similar to this. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time.